Hello everybody and welcome to another Journal With Me video. In today's video I am continuing the challenge of using scraps and paper bits from my junk drawer and from my pen pals, except for in today's video these are really just scraps from my junk drawer. These are ripped pages that have just been sitting around. I mean it's just literal junk. I mean it's beautiful, but it is the epitome of junk drawer contents. So I'm starting with this beautiful map that was meant to go in one of my paper packs, and of course, because the paper is so old, it tore during the process of trying to get it out of the atlas, and so it went to the junk drawer. And then I've just got other various bits of paper that I'm trying to layer underneath of it. And yeah, I'm just trying to cover up the empty space. It doesn't leave a whole lot of room for journaling, and honestly, I didn't really even think about it when I was doing it because one of my girlfriends, we like to challenge each other with our supplies, and so I challenged her to use, she's doing the same thing where she's kind of using supplies that she's just got laying around, and I challenged her to use a piece of paper, like a map print or ledger, and to cover her entire paper. Like, I don't want to see any of the original paper of that notebook. I want it completely covered because she just does not think that way. Her journaling style is pretty similar to mine, where just small clusters is fine. And one night we were talking and I was like, girl, don't rip that paper. Just put it all down. And she wasn't happy with me, but because I challenged her, she did it anyway, and it came out beautiful. And so as like payback, she challenged me to do the same thing. So I'm totally okay with it. I have zero problem covering up an entire paper because mostly this is from my junk drawer, so it doesn't hurt my feelings to rip it or tear it or cut it or not use all of it. But it did not leave me any room for like the type of journaling that I usually put inside of this journal, which is totally fine, but I love it anyway. And I love that the map that I coincidentally pulled out is a map of Florida, which is where I live, so it seemed meant to be, I guess. So I hope you guys are all doing well and enjoying any type of challenge you are doing for the month of May. I know that I issued a challenge that if you had ever purchased anything from my shop or have ever gotten anything in the mail from me, I challenged all of you to use those supplies and not hoard them. I know that we love these supplies and it's very hard for us to actually sit and use them, but it is important. I went through a hard stage of hoarding, and I'm sort of coming out of that mindset now because when I buy something that I love, I just cannot bear to use it because I cannot stand to think of a world where I can't just get it or see it or hold it or touch it if I want to. And so I just think that I had to break out of that mindset and actually use the things that I loved. It took me a long time to sort of get to that place where that mindset made sense, because in my mind it just did not make sense to me to use the things that I loved. Like, I needed to protect them and keep them intact and to keep them safe. And I just woke up one day with the mindset that that was ridiculous and I needed to use the things that I loved because they're going to go bad or they're going to get torn or lost or what have you. Just use them, and then they're in a journal or a scrapbook or anything. You have them forever. They're not going to get lost or bent or ripped or torn or broken because they're going to be safely stowed away in a book that you love. So that's where that's kind of where I'm coming from with this whole thing. So I hope that you can join along with us on this wonderful ride. The month of May is nearly over, and I find myself questioning where it went. I mean, it feels like all the other months this year have just sort of crept by, and May just feels like it's flying. And I don't know if it's because I have two babies with birthdays in May. So Clara's birthday is on the 7th and Cullen's birthday is on the 16th. So I don't know if all the party planning and emotions and prep and just like reminiscing and just loving on our babies that we did all month just sort of sped everything by, or what. I don't know. Maybe it was just because we had things to do on the weekends for at least 2 of the weekends with the parties. Who knows? I never will. I'm just, I'm glad that we are one step closer to being out of this quarantine fog, if that is even like a proper terminology for that whole thing. But we are almost done with the boys' home learning for the year. We have, as of today, we have 4 full days left. So yeah, next Tuesday we take the laptop back in and get all the supplies from the classroom, and the school year will officially be over next Wednesday. So it's incredible. It's been a wild ride. We had some interesting news. So I don't really filter myself very much, and most of you know quite a bit about my life and my family, so I really don't have a problem sharing this, because I want other moms who are struggling with this to have something to kind of relate to. But our second child, Emmett, he is in first grade this year. He struggled quite a bit this year, and especially with the quarantine and the shelter in place and stuff, having to do school at home made it 10 times harder than it normally would have for his educational needs. And as a result, he fell dramatically behind, even further than where he already was. And most students, the last 2 or 3 months of school, things sort of click, and the things that they struggled with sort of all of a sudden make sense, and they have that light bulb moment, and then they just thrive and they shoot out like rockets, and they finish the year strong, and it's great and it's beautiful. But our children were denied that that gift of having that click, that light bulb moment where things really make sense. And as a result, Emmett fell even further behind, and now he is going to be retained in first grade. He is going to have to repeat first grade. So I wasn't really surprised. It did not come as a surprise to us. We were part of the decision-making process, and we actually opted to retain him. He has an August birthday, so he was already younger than anybody else in his class. He was already educationally behind when he started first grade, and so we were not surprised at all when he just did not thrive. And we have some educational, I don't know what the word is, but we basically, the teachers are working with the kids, both of my boys, to give them just that extra little push. We have a program here that allows the teachers to do little extra bits for them to help give them that boost that they need because they struggle. But because we were in quarantine, those needs were not being met anymore. And so Hunter thrived. He did really well. He thrived. He did fine. But Emmett, just because of his age and his maturity, he did not finish the year strong. So I just want other moms out there to not feel like bad parents when they get the information that maybe their child will be retained. We found out when the day that we found out that Emmett was going to be retained, we also found out that the entire half of the entire first grade was being retained. So Emmett would not be alone. Half of first grade would be retained, and that's not even the other grades in that school. So I can't even fathom how many other moms and dads and grandparents are out there struggling with this right now. But I just want you guys to know that it is not your fault. It is not your child's fault. This was a natural fluke, and it just messed everybody up, and it denied our children the ability to thrive in the classroom. And I'm not beating myself up over this decision. I am happy he's going to be retained because it's just going to give him another year to really thrive. And I just think it's the best decision all the way around for him to be able to take advantage of this crisis, basically, and not be able to blame Emmett, because when he first found out, he got really upset and he blamed himself, and he felt really bad that he was being retained and he felt like he wasn't smart enough or he wasn't good enough. And we assured him that that was not the case at all. He was not alone. There were plenty of other students out there who were going to have to repeat it. And it made him feel a lot better that it wasn't his fault, it wasn't our fault, it wasn't the teacher's fault. It was just a series of unfortunate events that landed us to where we are. So all that being said, all of you parents out there are doing a wonderful job, and your students and your children are doing great, and we are grateful for all of the help and the support that we have gotten from our school system. It's been tough, and I am happy to see this school year go, and I cannot wait to see what next year brings. But yeah, it's been a wild week. It's been a wild week because Emmett knows he's having to repeat first grade. He doesn't even want to finish the schoolwork that he's got to do now. But we have to assure him that just because he's being retained doesn't mean he failed first grade. And it's much better to be retained for a different reason other than failing. And if he doesn't do the schoolwork, then he will get bad grades and it will look bad on his record. And it will be for a different reason he would have to be retained. So it's very hard to convince a 6-year-old of that. So I hope everybody out there is doing well and having a good week. I know this video is a little bit short, but hopefully it's been entertaining nonetheless. I hope that you have enjoyed me struggle hard through this junk drawer process video because I pittered out there at the end. I was just struggling to find supplies that I felt would work well together and so badly wanted to go hunt for more supplies, but I limited myself to what I pulled out originally and I made it work, and the result is fine, I guess. So let me know what you think. Have you been challenging yourself? How has the end of the school year been going for you? Anything. If you want to talk, let's go. I'm ready for it. I'm going to bring it in closer so that you guys can see some of the details a little bit better. But I hope that you have enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions about anything, as always, feel free to leave them in the comments section. I leave quite a bit of information in my description box now. So if you're interested in that, feel free to look at the description. My contact information is all there, as well as information for my monthly mail art challenge. So I'm going to do another video in the future with more information, probably next month. But if you want to enter for May, go ahead and hit that description button. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Thank you so much. Bye.